Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. She's my cherry pie. Thanksgiving is just around the corner, and what could be more satisfying than to finish that Thanksgiving dinner with a piece of pie with either Cool Whip on top or a side of ice cream? I'm gonna share this wonderful cherry pie recipe with you, and it is my family's favorite. So let's get started. I'm using frozen cherries for my pie, and I have a mix of sweet and tart cherries. I'm just gonna quickly rinse it with water and let them sit in the colander to drain until our dough is ready. I'm gonna show you very classic pie dough recipe. You need to follow simple rules. You need to get your butter really cold, and I mean like out of the freezer cold. We're gonna cut it into little pieces, and each piece we're gonna cut into 1/2 inch cubes. You're also gonna need some ice water, so just fill up your cup with ice and let it melt. I'm gonna use my food processor to make my pie crust. In the food processor, put 2.5 cups of plain flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 2 tablespoons of sugar. Give it a quick mix, and we're ready to introduce our cold butter. And what I like about this food processor, it has double blades, so it's gonna cut through this butter like through the butter. There's no way you guys can make this dough by hand, so I strongly advise you use a food processor because we need to reach a really crumbly stage, almost like a cornmeal stage for our dough. Because if you're gonna do any decorative designs on your dough, you need really even texture. And now we're gonna slowly adding our cold water, and I mean like an iced water, and we're gonna add exactly 1/3 of a cup and keep pulsing until you start to see your dough forming. Do not add any more water because you can ruin your pie dough. So just keep mixing, be patient with it. Actually, pulse and motion would be better for it, and then you will see your dough is gonna kind of gather all on one side of your bowl, and it's ready. We're gonna take our dough out on a floured surface. We're gonna form a little loaf so we can cut it in exactly 2 identical halves. So just cut it in half. We're gonna flatten each half into a disc, and we're gonna wrap it in the saran wrap and put it in the fridge for about an hour, or at least an hour, because we need this dough to be chilled even more. And we're gonna start working on our filling. Our cherries are thawed out and drained, so we're gonna start adding sugar to it. And I'm adding 4 tablespoons of sugar, but you guys can add less or more, depends on the type of cherries you're using. And this is a secret ingredient. I'm using 4 tablespoons of tapioca flour. That makes your filling less gummy. I'm also gonna add a couple shakes of cardamom, just added flavor, and we're gonna mix it all together and let our filling stand for a while. While our dough is chilling in the fridge, let's talk about pie dishes. For any type of fruit pies, you're gonna need a deep pie dish, which is this one, and it's 8 inches in diameter and it's about 2 inches high. I'm gonna use it today. And I also like this one. It is also a deep pie dish, and I use this one for apple pie. And for any type of single crust pies like your pecan pies and pumpkin pies, you're gonna need a shallow dish just like that. Now let's talk about pie making gadgets, and as you will see, I have a lot of them. I have this one, which is called a pie crust tamper, which is very useful. You will see I have this one, which is a lattice maker. That's gonna make a little pretty design on top of your pie. You're also gonna need a cutter, and if you're planning to make our cutout designs, this is a new tool in my collection. It's called Leave an Impression. It makes a pretty border on the pie. And I also have a crimping tool, which I use to make designs on pies. I have these little cutout pieces, which I just bought for holidays. And of course, I have a lot of little cutouts. I have several different ones. I mean, they can be really useful in pie making process. So you guys can can choose whichever ones you like to have in your collection. And of course, it won't be possible to make a pie without a good rolling pin. I have several. I have this silicone one. I have this wonderful OXO one. I just like the position of the handles and how heavy it is. I also have this marble one, and I have a French rolling pin, which you will need to make any type of tarts. It's really useful. Our dough has chilled and ready to be rolled out. So let's put a little bit of flour on a table surface or a silicone mat, and we're gonna start rolling out our dough. And since I have an 8-inch in diameter pie dish, I'm gonna roll it out to 11 inches because I need 2 inches for the border for the depth of the pie dish, and 1 inch is a hang over. So I'm just gonna roll it out to 11 inches. I don't know how I figured this out. And the dough should be 1/4 of an inch thick. Don't make it any thinner than that because you want this dough to hold all that filling. We're gonna transfer it to our pie dish. We're gonna position it exactly in the center so we have nice borders. And this is when this useful tool comes in to work. It's called the pie crust tampers. Now we need to mix our filling that's been sitting, and what I like to do, I like to spoon it out instead of just dumping the whole thing out. This way you can control the moisture in your filling, and all the liquids that are left on the bottom are going to be left on the bottom. Take out the other piece of the dough, put it on a floured surface, and we're going to roll out this piece of dough into 9-inch in diameter because we only need 1 inch of hangover. And I'm gonna use this little cherry cutout tool. I've never used it before, so just kind of bear with me, guys. I might be using it wrong. So what do? I think I pressed it wrong. Oh, I have to press first, then use that spring thing to push the little piece out. Okay. So I think I got it. So we're gonna press out 4 cherries in 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. And I guess I'm just gonna have to dig out that little piece of cherry from there. But we're gonna need 5 little decorative cherries. From any scraps that you have to cut out a 5th cherry. And we're gonna put this piece of dough on top of our pie, and we're gonna position it exactly in the center. And as you can see, I have a little bit more than 1 inch in the hangover, but I only need 1 inch border. So I'm just gonna cut excess with the scissors and just gonna tuck that dough in. This way we can use that little tool, remember, make the impression tool, to make a pretty border on the pie. So just keep tucking in your dough until you have a really pretty and sort of 1/2 inch high border. So I'm gonna use my pie crust tamper again, now a little piece, and I'm just gonna push all this dough to the edge of the pie dish so we can have this higher border. We're also gonna need 1 egg. We're gonna separate it into egg yolk and egg white. We're gonna use the egg yolk to mix the color, and we're gonna use the egg white for washing. And just separate your egg yolk into 2 little dishes because we're gonna color them with the food color, one with green for our leaves, for our cherries, and one with a red food color for our cherry berries. I think that's gonna look very pretty on the pie. So we're just gonna brush our egg white on our pie. It's gonna act like a glue, so we can glue on our decorative cherries to it. And we're gonna place 5 cherries in between those 4 cherry cutouts. And I think, guys, that's already looking very, very pretty. But we gonna make it even more prettier by coloring those cherries. So this is when that egg yolk is gonna act like a paint for our cherries, and look how pretty it looks. I've never done this before, but I think it looks absolutely beautiful. This is gonna really impress your guests if you're making it for your guests. And then use the green color to color our little leaves of our cherries. And of course, we have to make our border pretty. And you guys can use the fork impressions or just your fingers to cramp your border. But I'm going to use this tool, which is going to make us a really pretty border. So we're just going to brush it again with the egg white and sprinkle it with some sugar. And it's going to add a little bit more crunchiness to the crust. And we're going to bake our pie at first at 425 degrees for 15 minutes, then at 350 degrees for 45 minutes. And look at this, guys, it's ready. Let it cool a little bit and then we can serve it. To serve our pie, we need to cut a piece, put it on the plate, and you will see a lot of filling on your plate, which is going to be like oozing out. But that's what the fruit pies are all about. You can serve it either with Cool Whip or ice cream, but look how crispy and flaky that pie crust is. This pie is absolutely delicious. I hope you guys like this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Bye.